Ethan had never liked living alone. The apartment he rented in the heart of Neolumina City was small and worn, but it was his sanctuary. The walls were thin, and the neon lights from outside often flickered through his single window, painting the room in shades of blue and pink. He had just settled in when he realized his wallet was thinner than he expected. Rent in the city was high, and his engineering job barely covered all the bills. The solution was simple: he needed a roommate. It wasn't ideal, but Ethan had always believed that humans were adaptable. He posted an ad online, careful with his description. Seeking quiet roommate, non-smoker, respectful, and reliable. The response came sooner than he expected. AI message appeared on his screen one quiet evening. I am interested in renting your spare room. I arrived tonight. The message was short and strange, but Ethan didn't overthink it. He replied politely, and that same evening, there was a knock at the door. When he opened it, Ethan was surprised. The man standing there was tall, with sharp features and silver hair that seemed to shimmer slightly under the dim hallway lights. His eyes were a strange shade of amber, glowing faintly, but Ethan shook off the odd feeling. Hi, I'm Ethan, he said, extending his hand. The man smiled politely and took the hand. I am Kale. Thank you for letting me stay here. Kale carried a single duffel bag. He stepped inside carefully, looking around as if seeing everything for the first time. His movements were precise, almost mechanical, yet he seemed aware of every detail. Ethan found himself studying Kale without realizing it. There was something different about him. Make yourself at home, Ethan said, forcing a smile. Your room is through that door. He pointed to the smaller room at the end of the apartment. Kyle nodded, his expression unreadable. Thank you. The first few days were quiet. Kale followed simple routines. He cooked strange meals, often mixing ingredients Ethan had never seen together. He seemed uncomfortable with mirrors, always turning his head whenever he caught a reflection. And there were times when he disappeared at night, leaving no explanation. Ethan told himself it was normal for someone new. He reminded himself humans often had habits he didn't understand. But still, the unease grew. Sometimes he would catch Kale in the kitchen late at night, quietly observing the city lights through the window. The way Kale's eyes reflected the neon glow was unsettling. It was on the third night that Ethan first noticed something that would change everything. He was returning from work when he heard a faint hum coming from Kale's room. It wasn't like the sound of electronics or the city. It was softer, almost alive, like a machine working inside something organic. Ethan paused. Should he knock? No, that would be rude. He moved closer, curious. The hum continued, steady and rhythmic. It made his chest tighten slightly. He had studied machines in his work, but this was different. He felt as though the sound had a heartbeat. The next morning, Ethan tried to shake it off. He told himself he was imagining things, or maybe Kale had some unusual device he used at night. Still, curiosity gnawed at him. Days passed, and Kale's oddities became harder to ignore. He had a strange glow under his skin when the lights were off. Sometimes when he moved, it looked as if tiny silver lines ran just beneath his skin, like circuits hidden beneath flesh. When Ethan caught a glimpse, Kale would turn quickly and smile awkwardly, saying, "Just a trick of the light." One evening, Ethan decided he had to ask. They were sitting in the small living room, the neon city casting flickering patterns across the floor. "Kale," Ethan began carefully, "can I ask, are you okay? I mean, you seem different." Kale looked at him for a long moment, his amber eyes unreadable. Then slowly, he smiled. "Different how? You? I don't. No, sometimes your skin glows and you move in ways that feel unusual. Are you sick?" Ethan asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Kale's smile softened and he shook his head. "No, I am not sick. I am learning. I came here to observe humans." "Observe humans?" Ethan repeated, confusion knitting his brow. "You mean, for research?" "Yes," Kyle said simply. "I am interested in understanding humans. Your emotions, your habits, your creativity. Things my creators could never truly understand. Ethan froze. Something in Cale's voice wasn't lying, but the words were strange. Creators? He asked slowly. Cale nodded. I was created, engineered, by an advanced civilization, but I escaped. I did not want to be a tool. I wanted to learn. The revelation hit Ethan like a shockwave. His mind raced. Was Cale some kind of alien or advanced machine? He looked at him carefully, trying to find a clue that would confirm this impossible story. Cale's face remained calm, almost human, but Ethan noticed the faint pulse beneath the skin of his arm, faint silver lines moving beneath like tiny circuits. Ethan's curiosity overcame his fear. You're like a hybrid? Part human, part machine? Cale nodded slowly. Part organic, part synthetic. I am learning what it means to live as a human. The room fell silent. Ethan didn't know what to say. The roommate he had expected, to share bills and maybe watch TV with, was something else entirely. Something beyond human, yet strangely relatable. Over the next few days, Ethan observed Cale carefully. He realized that despite his strange appearance, Cale was polite, intelligent, and remarkably curious about human life. Cale asked endless questions about art, music, food, and even simple human interactions like smiling and laughing. One morning, Ethan found Cale in the kitchen attempting to make pancakes. The result was inedible, burnt on one side and raw on the other. Cale looked disappointed but laughed softly. Your humans are surprisingly difficult to cook for, he said. Ethan chuckled. You'll get better. It's not just cooking. Humans. We're unpredictable. Cale nodded thoughtfully, as if processing the word unpredictable. Despite the strangeness, Ethan began to feel a sense of companionship. Cale was different, yes, but he was also sincere. He wasn't a threat, at least not yet. And that was more than enough to begin a fragile trust. That night, Ethan went to bed with a mixture of fear and curiosity. He couldn't shake the image of the silver lines beneath Cale's skin, the strange hum he heard in the middle of the night. Questions swirled in his mind. Who had created Cale? Why did they think humans were inferior? And most importantly, what would Cale learn from living with a human like him? Sleep came fitfully, filled with dreams of glowing circuits and amber eyes. Ethan didn't know it yet, but his life was about to change in ways he could never imagine. A quiet excitement stirred in him, the kind only humans feel when they encounter the unknown, the extraordinary. For the first time in a long while, Ethan felt a spark of anticipation. His strange roommate was more than unusual. He was a mystery, and Ethan was determined to uncover it one step at a time. Little did he know the real surprises were still waiting. One small slip, one glance, and Ethan would discover that Cale's body, and his very being, was something far beyond human. Imagination. Something that could leave anyone speechless. And that was only the beginning. The apartment was quiet that evening. Neo-Lumina City's neon lights flickered softly against the walls, and the hum of distant hover cars passed by like a lullaby. Ethan was sitting on the small couch, scrolling through messages on his holopad, when he realized that Cale had disappeared again. It wasn't unusual. Cale often vanished at odd hours, and Ethan had grown somewhat used to it. But tonight, curiosity gnawed at him. He had noticed strange patterns lately. Cale always kept to himself during meals, avoided mirrors, and moved with a precision that felt unnatural. Ethan tried to focus on his holopad, but the hum of water from the bathroom caught his attention. Cale must be taking a shower. Ethan shook his head. He didn't intend to spy. He had no reason to. But something made him glance toward the bathroom doorway. Cale stepped out of the shower just as Ethan's eyes flicked toward the room. For a moment, time seemed to pause. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. Cale's body was different. It was still humanoid, familiar enough that Ethan could understand it. But there were details he could not explain. Faint, silver lines traced across Cale's skin like intricate circuits, pulsing gently under the surface. Light from the bathroom reflected off a soft glow in his chest, almost like a tiny heartbeat made of energy. Every movement he made seemed deliberate, almost mechanical, yet strangely graceful. Ethan's mind raced. Was this some kind of alien or machine? No, it couldn't be. Yet everything he saw screamed that Kale was something beyond human. He blinked, and Kale's gaze met his for a brief moment. Ethan froze. Kale did not look angry or upset. He simply smiled faintly, as if expecting Ethan to react. "Ethan," Kale said, his voice calm and soft. "You saw something you were not meant to see." Ethan stumbled over his words. I didn't mean to. It's just your body." He trailed off, unsure how to continue. Kale walked closer, dripping wet, and sat on the edge of his bed. "It is natural to be curious," he said. "And it is natural to be surprised. I am not fully human." Ethan nodded slowly, trying to calm the storm of questions in his mind. "I guessed that already," he admitted. "The glowing, the lines, your movements, it's all not human." Kyle smiled faintly. "You are observant. Most humans do not notice. But you must understand, I do not mean harm. I only wish to learn, to understand what it means to be human in the deepest sense." Ethan took a deep breath. His heart was pounding, but he forced himself to speak. "Then, tell me the truth. Who are you really?" Kale's amber eyes flickered in the neon light. "I am Kale. I was created by an advanced civilization that values efficiency over emotion. They engineered beings like me to serve, to execute, to collect data. But I wanted something more. I wanted to experience life as humans do. That is why I came here." Ethan was silent. The weight of Kale's words pressed on him. He had grown up learning that humans were special, capable of feelings, art, and ingenuity that machines or aliens could never fully replicate. And here was Kyle, a being designed to serve, seeking to understand humanity. "Why here?" Ethan asked cautiously. "Why come to Earth?" Kale's gaze softened. "Because your kind is unique. You create, you dream, you laugh, you fail, and yet you continue. My creators do not understand this. They see only logic and efficiency. They think emotion is weakness, but I see strength. Humans endure despite everything. That is why I wanted to learn from you." Ethan felt a strange warmth in his chest. Despite the shock of seeing Kale's non-human body, he couldn't help but feel proud. The human spirit, he realized, was visible even to those not entirely human. For the next few hours they sat together, talking. Kale asked about simple things. Why humans laugh at jokes, why music could make someone cry, why paintings and stories mattered so much. Ethan explained as best as he could, feeling an unexpected bond forming between them. Then came the questions Ethan had not expected to answer. "Do you feel things?" he asked, hesitating. "I mean, happiness, sadness?" Kyle tilted his head. "I observe emotions and mimic them, but I also try to understand them. Your reactions, your choices, your persistence, they teach me. Each experience adds to my understanding of life." Ethan realized something profound. Here was a being, designed to be perfect, efficient, and logical, and yet it sought imperfection. Kale wanted what humans take for granted: curiosity, creativity, and the freedom to make mistakes. Over the following days, Ethan noticed Kale's curiosity grow even more. He tried new foods, attempted simple exercises, and even laughed at jokes, though sometimes slightly delayed, as if calculating the proper response. Ethan could not help but smile. Despite being part machine, Kale was learning the most human quality of all: joy. One evening, a sudden storm hit Neo-Lumina City. Rain poured down in sheets, drumming against the apartment window. The city lights blurred into streaks of red and blue. Ethan was working on a small engineering project when Kale appeared beside him, holding a steaming cup of tea. "You work too hard," Kyle said. "It is not necessary to exhaust yourself for minor tasks." Ethan chuckled. "You sound like my mother." Kale's amber eyes glimmered with amusement. "Then I will try not to interfere." But Kale did interfere, in the gentlest way. Over the next hour, he helped Ethan solve a problem in his project, suggesting angles and approaches Ethan had not considered. He was logical, precise, but also somehow creative, something Ethan had never expected from a synthetic being. That night, as the storm raged outside, Ethan sat in bed thinking about everything he had learned. Kale was no ordinary roommate. He was extraordinary, and yet he was still learning, still growing. It reminded Ethan of the human journey, imperfect, messy, but beautiful. As he drifted to sleep, Ethan could not shake the memory of Kale in the shower, the faint silver lines beneath his skin, the soft glow from his chest. It was no longer fear he felt, but fascination. He wanted to understand Kale, just as Kale wanted to understand him. Little did Ethan know, their bond would soon be tested. The world beyond their apartment was not as safe as it seemed. Forces, far more advanced than humans or even Kale's creators, were searching, and they would not stop until they had answers. Kyle, despite his calm exterior, sensed it too. He had come to Earth seeking freedom and knowledge, but the universe did not forget its creations easily. There would be trials ahead, moments where his human-like curiosity might be the only thing that saved him. For now, however, the apartment was quiet, save for the sound of rain against the window. Ethan lay awake, thinking of circuits and emotions, of machines and hearts, and the strange roommate who had left him both speechless and inspired. The night passed without incident, but Ethan knew it was only the calm before the storm. Kale's secret had been revealed, but it was a secret the universe would soon try to reclaim, and when that time came, Ethan and Kale would face challenges neither of them could yet imagine. But that was a story for tomorrow. Tonight, they were simply two beings, one human, one part machine, learning to understand each other, discovering that even in a world full of technology and chaos, the human spirit remained something extraordinary, worth protecting and teaching. And for the first time, Ethan realized that his roommate's unusual body was not something to fear, but something remarkable, something that could teach him the true meaning of humanity and the strength it carries. Because being human, he thought, is not about flesh alone. It is about curiosity, courage, and the willingness to face the unknown. And Kale had all of that, in ways even Ethan could not yet understand. Days passed and Neolumina City buzzed with the usual rhythm of neon lights and hovering vehicles. For Ethan, life had settled into an unusual routine. Kale no longer startled him with his glowing skin or faint silver lines. Instead, Ethan found himself fascinated by the things Kale noticed and asked about. Each question Kale posed was like a mirror, reflecting something Ethan had never thought deeply about. The reasons humans laughed, the subtle joy in music, or the comfort in simple routines. Kale had begun to venture further into the city during the day. He asked Ethan to take him to art galleries, street performances, and local cafes. Observing humans in their natural environment was crucial to him. Ethan noticed that Kale's eyes lit up, not with emotion, but with intense focus and curiosity. He seemed to absorb every detail, every expression, every interaction. One afternoon they walked through a crowded street market. Humans bustled past, carrying packages and chatting loudly. Kale paused in front of a street artist painting a mural. The colors were bright, almost chaotic, yet beautiful in a way no algorithm could create. "This is strange," Kale murmured. "It is not efficient, but it is compelling. Why create something that has no function?" Ethan smiled. "That's what humans do. We don't always need a reason. Some things exist just to make us feel, to make life meaningful." Kyle studied the mural intently. "I think I am beginning to understand." He turned to Ethan. "Efficiency does not always mean superiority. Creativity, emotion, these are strengths." Ethan felt a swelling of pride. His strange roommate, a being part machine, part organic, was learning the most human lesson. That imperfection and emotion held power that logic alone could never match. But not everything was peaceful. Late one night, as Ethan worked on a small mechanical project, he noticed Cale pacing near the window. The soft glow of his chest illuminated the apartment, casting moving shadows on the walls. "Something troubles you?" Ethan asked cautiously. Cale turned, his amber eyes reflecting concern. "Yes, I have sensed surveillance. Unknown entities are monitoring this area. They are searching for me." Ethan frowned. "Surveillance? What do you mean? Who?" Kyle shook his head. "I do not know their names. They are agents of my creators. They see me as a tool, not as a being. I escaped, and now they want me returned. They underestimate humans. They do not expect that you, and others, can think in ways they cannot predict." Ethan's mind raced. He had always believed humans were clever, capable of solving problems creatively. But to be hunted by advanced beings? That was something else entirely. "What can we do?" Ethan asked, his voice steady despite the tension in the room. Cale considered this. "We must hide, and you must understand something. Humans are stronger than they realize. Not because of machines or weapons, but because of ingenuity. That is what I need from you." Ethan nodded, a sense of determination rising within him. His roommate, though strange and part machine, had placed trust in him. That trust felt like a responsibility, one he could not take lightly. Over the next few days they prepared. Ethan helped Cale cover the apartment with simple yet clever modifications: sensor dampers, energy shields that masked Cale's faint glow, and even decoy devices to confuse potential trackers. Cale observed closely, absorbing every detail. When Ethan hesitated, unsure about certain adjustments, Cale offered suggestions that blended human intuition with precise calculations. One evening as they worked, Cale spoke softly, almost as if testing the trust between them. "Ethan, I am grateful. Most humans would be afraid of me or try to exploit me. You see me as a person. That is unusual." Ethan laughed softly. "Well, you've made yourself hard to ignore. And maybe, just maybe, I believe you when you say you're learning about us. Besides, humans are curious. That's part of being human. We want to know the truth." Cale's gaze softened. "Then perhaps we are learning together." Their bond strengthened through shared preparation and quiet conversations. Ethan learned that Cale, despite being partly synthetic, had a deep appreciation for simple joys: a hot cup of tea, the smell of rain on concrete, the sound of laughter. Cale even attempted to mimic small gestures of human affection, like patting Ethan on the shoulder or smiling at his jokes, though sometimes his timing was slightly off. It was during one of these quiet evenings that the first sign of danger appeared. A shadow moved along the street outside their apartment, almost invisible under the dim city lights. Cale stiffened, his senses alert. "They are close," he whispered. "I can feel it." Ethan peered through the window, seeing nothing unusual at first. Then, a small drone emerged from the shadows, scanning the building with soft, pulsating lights. Its design was sleek, almost organic, yet unmistakably mechanical. Ethan swallowed hard. "They're looking for you." Cale nodded. "Yes, and they will not stop until they find me. That is why we must be careful. Trust, Ethan, is our greatest weapon. You think creatively. I calculate precisely. Together, we can stay one step ahead." Ethan realized the truth in Cale's words. Humans often underestimated themselves, believing only advanced technology or raw strength mattered. But Cale was proof that the human mind, with its creativity and adaptability, could outsmart even the most advanced pursuers. The next day, Ethan and Cale began planning. They mapped escape routes, practiced signal jamming, and studied patterns of human and machine behavior. Cale learned quickly, combining his precise calculations with Ethan's unpredictable thinking. They became a team, complementing each other perfectly. During a quiet moment, Ethan asked. Kale, why do they want you back so badly? Why can't you just live here peacefully? Kale's amber eyes darkened slightly. To them I am property, a tool that escaped. They do not care that I am learning, that I have autonomy. They only care about control. But humans, you are free in ways they cannot comprehend. You fight for life, for love, for choices. That is what they fear. Ethan nodded slowly. It was true. Humans valued freedom above all else, even when it came at great cost, and Kale, despite being synthetic, recognized that strength in them. That night, the hum of the city was louder than usual. Ethan lay in bed, thinking about the strange journey he had embarked on. Kale was no ordinary roommate. He was a being, caught between worlds, human and machine, observer and participant, captive and free. Ethan realized that the bond they were forming was not just about survival. It was about understanding. Kale wanted to understand humans, and in return, Ethan was learning to see the universe through Kale's eyes. A world of precision, logic, and observation, combined with human chaos, creativity, and emotion. The quiet of the night was broken by a soft beep from Kale's room. A small device they had set up to detect surveillance had picked up a faint signal. Kale's amber eyes glowed brighter. They are coming closer, he said. Soon we will have to leave, or hide in ways humans rarely imagine. Ethan felt a mixture of fear and excitement. Fear of the unknown, yes, but excitement because he knew that humans had a way of overcoming impossible odds. They were adaptable, resilient, and capable of cleverness that no machine, no matter how advanced, could predict. Kale turned to him, his expression calm but serious. Ethan, I trust you, and I need you to trust me. Together, we can survive this. Together, we can prove that humans are extraordinary. Ethan took a deep breath and nodded. I trust you, Kale. Let's do this. And so, their partnership solidified. Ethan would rely on his human intuition, creativity, and courage, while Kale would use his precision, strength, and knowledge. The balance between human unpredictability and synthetic calculation was fragile, but it was strong enough to face the dangers that were coming. As the night deepened, the first signals of pursuit flickered in the distance, soft, almost imperceptible, pulses, like eyes watching them from the darkness. Kyle observed them calmly, but Ethan's heart raced. He realized that the safety of their apartment was temporary. Soon, the city itself would become a maze, a battlefield of wits and courage. Yet in that moment, despite the danger, Ethan felt something he had never felt before, a sense of purpose. Protecting Kale was no longer just about survival. It was about proving what humans could do when faced with impossible challenges. Kale's soft glow filled the room, casting long shadows against the walls. Ethan looked at him, and for the first time, he did not see a strange, glowing body. He saw potential, an opportunity to witness something extraordinary, a living testament to what humans could inspire in others, even beings from beyond their world. And as they prepared for whatever was coming next, Ethan knew one truth. No matter how advanced or strange the universe became, humans had a power that could not be measured by machines or logic alone. Creativity, courage, and trust, they were the keys to survival. And Kale, in his strange way, was learning it all. And Ethan, he was ready to teach it. The morning air in Neo-Lumina City was crisp, carrying the faint scent of rain and ozone from the previous night's storm. Ethan and Kale moved cautiously through their apartment, packing only what was necessary. Their small unit was no longer safe. The surveillance signal from the previous night had grown stronger, and Kale could sense the approach of his pursuers. They are coming, Kyle said, his amber eyes scanning the streets below. Soon they will attempt entry. We must move. Ethan nodded, gripping his small backpack tightly. He had never imagined his life would turn into something like this, being hunted by advanced beings far beyond Earth's technology. But Kale's calm presence gave him courage. This strange hybrid roommate had taught him one crucial lesson: humans were more capable than they often believed. As they descended the narrow stairwell, Ethan noticed the city stretching out before them. Neon lights reflected on wet streets, hovercars gliding silently through the air. Most people moved about unaware of the invisible threat hunting them. Cale moved with confidence, each step precise. Yet Ethan noticed the faint glow under his skin, pulsing faster than usual. His body was readying for action like a machine anticipating its next move. Suddenly, the first pursuers appeared. Agents disguised as humans stepped from the shadows, their movements almost too perfect, too smooth. Their eyes glowed faintly when seen from the corner of Ethan's eye, betraying their true nature. Cale whispered, "They underestimate the human mind. That is our advantage." Ethan felt a surge of adrenaline. Then let's show them what humans can do. With a sudden burst of speed, Cale darted forward, moving past Ethan with incredible agility. Ethan followed, relying on his quick thinking and knowledge of the city's alleys and back streets. The chase had begun. They ducked into narrow corridors, weaving past market stalls and abandoned buildings. The pursuers were relentless, but Cale's hybrid abilities allowed him to anticipate their moves, while Ethan's creativity turned ordinary objects into clever distractions. He knocked over a stack of crates, sending them tumbling toward one of the agents, who barely avoided being struck. "Nice thinking," Cale shouted, his voice filled with rare excitement. Ethan grinned despite the tension. "You're not so bad yourself." They reached a rooftop, the city sprawling beneath them in waves of neon. Kyle scanned the skies. "Hover drones above. They will attempt aerial pursuit. We must move carefully." Ethan looked at the drones hovering silently, their sensors glowing faintly red. "Got it," he said. "We'll need a plan." Kyle, analyze the situation quickly. "We can use the city's energy conduits to mask our presence. Follow me." With a combination of human instinct and Cale's precise calculations, they navigated the labyrinth of conduits and maintenance passages that few humans knew existed. Sparks from exposed cables cast erratic shadows on their path, but Ethan followed, trusting Cale completely. Below them, the agents adapted quickly. Their pursuers split into groups, some taking the streets, others following the conduits. Ethan realized they were learning from him as much as he was learning from Cale. This was a game of wits, where creativity and adaptability mattered more than brute strength. "Ethan," Cale said, his voice urgent, "we are approaching a junction. I need you to think. How can we slow them without risking ourselves?" Ethan scanned the area. He noticed a network of abandoned scaffolding connecting two buildings. "We can cut the supports ahead," he suggested. "It will delay them, and we can use that time to move to the next passage." Cale tilted his head. "Risky but feasible. Proceed." With careful precision, Ethan loosened a few bolts while Cale used his enhanced strength to nudge beams into positions that would collapse once their pursuers reached them. Moments later, they heard a crash below. The agents had fallen behind, momentarily stalled by the obstacle. Cale's amber eyes glimmered. "Well done, Ethan. You see patterns they do not. That is why humans are exceptional." Ethan smiled faintly, his chest still racing. "Thanks, but we're not out of this yet." They continued across rooftops, the city below alive with lights and sounds, unaware of the deadly game being played above. Hover drones circled, and agents scanned every passage, but Ethan's ingenuity and Cale's hybrid abilities kept them one step ahead. Eventually, they reached an old power plant at the edge of the city, a place abandoned decades ago, filled with towering machinery and maze-like corridors. Cale motioned for Ethan to follow. "This is where we can make a stand," Cale said. "I can manipulate the energy here to create a barrier temporarily, but I will need your help." Ethan nodded, determination burning in his chest. "Tell me what to do." Cale guided him through a series of controls, explaining how to reroute energy flows. Ethan's knowledge of human technology allowed them to combine systems in ways the pursuers would never predict. When the sequence was complete, the power plant surged to life with crackling energy, creating a protective barrier that masked their presence. Outside, the agents hesitated, unable to penetrate the sudden energy field. Kale's chest glowed brightly, his hybrid systems harmonizing with the city's grid. Ethan felt a mixture of awe and pride. Here was his strange roommate, part machine, part human observer, working in perfect tandem with him. But the moment of triumph was brief. One agent, more advanced than the others, bypassed their defenses using a compact device. It hovered silently above the barrier, scanning for weaknesses. Kyle's eyes narrowed. They are adapting. We cannot stay here long, Ethan thought, quickly. Then we go deeper inside. Lead the way. They moved through the power plant's corridors, Kale's glowing form lighting the path. The agent pursued, calculating every possible move. But Ethan remembered something. Humans were unpredictable. He spotted a series of maintenance lifts and pulley systems. Kyle, jump on my mark, Ethan whispered. We can use the lifts to reach the upper chamber. The agent won't expect it. Kyle nodded. With a coordinated burst of speed, they launched onto the lifts. Sparks flew, metal groaned, and the agent tried to follow, but it miscalculated the timing. Ethan's improvisation worked perfectly. They reached the upper chamber safely. Kale exhaled softly. You're thinking, it is remarkable. Humans truly are unpredictable. Ethan laughed, adrenaline still coursing through his veins. That's what I've been saying all along. From the upper chamber, they could see the city stretching into the horizon. It was beautiful, but it also reminded Ethan of the dangers surrounding them. The agents were still searching, still relentless. But he also realized something. With Kale by his side, and Kale relying on him, they could face anything. Kale turned to Ethan. You have proven yourself, not only in courage but in ingenuity. My creators underestimated the strength of humans. That is a lesson I will carry forward. Ethan felt a deep sense of pride. This strange, glowing roommate had taught him as much as he had taught Kale. Together, they were more than the sum of their parts. They were a team, a human mind paired with hybrid strength, intuition paired with precision. As night fell over Neo-Lumina City, Ethan and Kale prepared for the next stage of their journey. The chase was not over. Forces beyond Earth's understanding were closing in, but for the first time Ethan did not feel fear. He felt confidence. He understood now what humans had always known. Creativity, courage, and adaptability were more powerful than any machine. And Kale was beginning to understand it too. The chase had taught them both something extraordinary. That even in a universe filled with advanced civilizations, humans, and those who learned from them, could defy expectation, challenge fate, and survive against impossible odds. Ethan glanced at Kale. Ready for the next move? Kale's amber eyes glowed faintly. Always. Lead the way, human. Let us show them what you are capable of. And with that, they disappeared into the shadowed corridors of the power plant, two beings united in purpose, ready to face the dangers ahead, and proving that human ingenuity, paired with courage and trust, was something no advanced pursuer could ever fully anticipate. The city slept, unaware that above and below its streets, a battle of wits, courage, and resilience was being waged. And the outcome would not be decided by machines alone. It would be decided by humans, and by the extraordinary bond between a human and his strange hybrid roommate. Neo-Lumina City sprawled beneath them, its neon lights flickering softly against the night sky. The city was alive, unaware of the events unfolding in the abandoned power plant at its edge. Ethan and Kyle had navigated a labyrinth of corridors and machinery, leading their relentless pursuers into a complex trap. But they both knew the danger was far from over. Kale's creators would not give up so easily. Ethan wiped sweat from his brow, gripping a small toolkit. He had been improvising defenses for hours, rerouting energy lines and setting up devices that could confuse even the most advanced agents. Kale's amber eyes glowed faintly, pulsing with energy as he assessed every detail of their surroundings. They will come in waves, Kale said, his voice calm but firm. Their machines adapt quickly. This is the final chance to end the pursuit. Are you ready, Ethan? Ethan nodded. I'm ready. Let's finish this. Kale moved toward the main control panel of the power plant, his glowing hands scanning the interface. He could manipulate the facility's energy grid, but it required precise timing. One mistake, and the agents could breach their defenses. Ethan adjusted several wires and relays, adding unpredictable patterns to the energy flow. This should work, Ethan said. It'll overload their tracking systems, but only for a short time. Kale nodded. Good, that will give us the opening we need. As if on cue, the first wave of agents arrived. They entered cautiously, their movements precise and coordinated. Hover drones scanned every corner, their red sensors slicing through the dim light. But the energy rerouting had taken effect. The drones flickered, their systems confused, while the agents stumbled over unexpected obstacles Ethan had set up. Kale moved like lightning, disabling the agents who came too close, but he didn't harm them lethally. His goal was to survive, not destroy. Ethan, meanwhile, used simple but clever tricks: sliding panels, loose cables, and sudden bursts of light that disoriented their pursuers. Together they were unstoppable, not because of strength alone, but because of strategy, creativity, and trust. One advanced agent managed to bypass a section of their defenses. It hovered in the air, scanning, calculating every possible move. Kale's amber eyes narrowed. We need to act now. I will require your help, Ethan. Follow my instructions. Precisely. Ethan's heart pounded. He trusted Kale completely, but the tension was unbearable. Kale led him to the central energy chamber, where massive conduits carried the city's power. Do exactly as I say, Kale instructed. We can overload the system. The surge will disable their machines, but it is dangerous. We must be precise. Ethan nodded. I trust you. Kyle smiled faintly. And I trust you. That is why this will work. They began the delicate operation. Ethan adjusted energy valves and redirected circuits while Kale synchronized his systems with the plant's main core. Sparks flew, and the air hummed with raw energy. Every second felt like an eternity. Outside, the agents were growing more aggressive, their calculations adapting to the chaotic environment. But they underestimated the unpredictability of human ingenuity. Ethan had introduced subtle patterns and tricks that no algorithm could anticipate. Kale's hybrid abilities amplified the effects, turning the energy plant into a formidable shield. Finally, Kale signaled. Now! Ethan triggered the final sequence. Energy surged through the conduits, creating a brilliant pulse that disabled the pursuing drones and machines. The agents faltered, their systems momentarily offline. The city's lights flickered as the surge reverberated through the plant, but Ethan and Kale remained unharmed. Kale exhaled softly, his chest glowing steadily. It is done. The immediate threat is neutralized. Ethan sank against a control panel, breathing heavily. That was incredible. We actually did it. Kale turned to him, amber eyes reflecting pride. Yes. And you see now why humans are extraordinary. Not because of strength, not because of speed, but because of creativity, courage, and the ability to adapt. Your mind, it is unpredictable, and that is a strength even my creators could not understand. Ethan smiled, feeling a surge of warmth. I guess being human is more powerful than I realized. Kale's voice softened. It is. And I wish to learn more. Not just from observation, but by living among you. Experiencing life as you do. Ethan's mind wandered briefly. Kale, a hybrid being designed for precision and logic, had survived, against forces far superior because he embraced something uniquely human: trust, collaboration, and courage. Humans were extraordinary, not in perfection, but in their ability to persevere and create solutions when all seemed lost. As the night settled, the two of them walked to the rooftop of the power plant. Below, Neo-luminous city sparkled like a sea of stars, oblivious to the battle that had taken place. Cale looked out over the city, his amber eyes reflecting the neon glow. "Ethan," he said quietly, "I came here to understand humans, to learn from them. But I realize now, humans also teach by action. You have shown me that courage and ingenuity are not limited to machines or algorithms. They are in every choice, every risk, every act of trust." Ethan nodded, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. "And you've shown me that even beings not fully human can learn from humans, and that friendship and trust matter, no matter what form someone takes." Cale smiled faintly. "Then perhaps we have both learned something valuable." Suddenly, a faint signal flickered in Cale's system, a final scout from his creators. Ethan tensed, ready for another confrontation. But Cale's glowing chest pulsed steadily. "They will retreat," Cale said calmly. "For now, they understand that humans are different, that even their most advanced machines cannot predict the unpredictable mind. They will not come again, at least not immediately." Ethan exhaled in relief. "Then we're safe for now." Cale turned to him, amber eyes bright. "Safe, yes. But more importantly, you have shown me why humanity is special, why life, in its unpredictability, is worth protecting and understanding. I no longer wish to merely observe. I wish to live, to learn, and to grow among humans." Ethan felt a deep sense of pride. His strange roommate, the being who had left him speechless weeks ago, was now a friend, someone who had faced danger and survived not just because of power, but because of the strength that only humans, and those who embraced human qualities, possessed. The city below shimmered in the distance, a reminder that life continued, full of challenges and possibilities. Cale and Ethan stood side by side, two beings from different worlds, united by trust, courage, and the human spirit. Cale's voice broke the silence. "Thank you, Ethan. You have taught me more than I could have learned from observation alone. You have shown me that being human is not just about flesh or emotion. It is about choice, creativity, and resilience." Ethan smiled faintly. "And you've reminded me that even in a universe filled with technology and danger, humans are
capable of extraordinary things, especially when we trust each other."
For the first time, Ethan no longer felt speechless in Cale's presence. Instead, he felt inspired. His roommate's unusual body, once a source of shock, was now a symbol of how learning, curiosity, and courage could bridge worlds. As they looked out over Neo-Lumina City, Ethan realized something profound. Humans mattered. Not because they were perfect, but because they were adaptable, creative, and brave. Kyle, in his hybrid form, had come to see that. And together, they had proven it to themselves and to the universe. The night deepened, and the city's lights danced across the horizon. Ethan and Cale remained on the rooftop, side by side, knowing that the universe was vast and filled with unknown dangers. But for now, they had survived. For now, they had learned that trust, courage, and the human spirit were more powerful than any algorithm or machine. And as dawn approached, Ethan understood one truth. In a universe of infinite possibilities, humans were special. They were capable of inspiring even those who were not entirely human. And Cale had become a testament to that truth. The adventure had tested them, challenged them, and changed them. But most importantly, it had shown that humans, through courage, ingenuity, and trust, were extraordinary. And in that, Ethan found hope, pride, and a sense of purpose he had never felt before. Because being human was not just surviving. It was creating, learning, and inspiring. And together, Ethan and Cale had done all three. The city continued its hum, the neon lights glowing brighter with the coming dawn, and the universe outside waited, full of challenges, mysteries, and possibilities. But for Ethan and Cale, the lesson was clear. Humanity in all its imperfection was remarkable, and that was a truth no machine, no algorithm, and no alien civilization could ever take away.